And boom, we're live. Office hours with Jeff starting now. Let's go, folks. We got some really cool stuff to talk about today. About expectations. That's the title. Gonna, as always, give you guys 2 minutes to log in. Being recorded for the blog, for technically real estate, for future use. Titles, expectations. So I'm gonna give you guys 2 minutes. Get the live stream up. Some people joining in now. Awesome. I'm going to try and watch my computer as well. Thanks, Todd, jumping on. A few of you others jumping on. Cool. Feel free to ask questions. Really a hot topic today for me. It sounds like something you wouldn't have a lot of content to talk about, to be honest. But it's about expectations. And I'm going to cover 2 or 3 different things. And I think I might have a solution because I face the same battle we're going to talk about today. I face it sometimes even more so. That being said, let's talk about the expectations. So first I'm going to talk about 2 or 3 different topics with expectations. First, let's start with what we all become familiar with is the homeowner itself. Homeowner expectations. First of all, I think we fail as an industry a lot by not setting them. We try to explain the process, but we don't understand. We look at it from the perspective, when I say we, real estate agents, mortgage industry, loan officers, title agents. From the homeowner perspective, we're looking at it as a transaction, a deal, and a side. They're going through an emotional mess during this process. Stress, packing, kids, schools, job, careers. And first of all, expectations there, we don't really set them properly. For the most part, and I say we, some of you might do a great job. But I know that the biggest challenge is when a consumer and a homeowner is pissed off at the end, upset, negative reviews, won't refer you. A lot of it's because we didn't tell them how this was really going to happen. We also have to tell them, here's some of the obstacles. I don't want to scare you, but I want to tell you some of the obstacles that we're going to face during the transaction. Some of them might be the appraisal. Here's some of the things that might happen. I'm hoping for a smooth, and always reinforce with positivity, but let's set the pace that says, these are some of the obstacles I find with other clients that happen during this transaction. They don't know the process. They think they know. They might have had an experience in the past with it. Today's world is different than they did 5 to 7 years ago with different obstacles. So the expectations are simply this. And I'm going to give you what I think is a really good solution at the end of this stream because I've really faced some challenges myself in this business with it. And I'm going to cover it in product. But right now we're talking about the consumer. So setting those expectations, and then also going down the path of helping them share with you, what's a realistic time frame? How is it you're planning on moving? Helping them with the personal side of things so they could talk it through as well. We sometimes always look too deep at this as our transaction and a deal and a side, and we're focused on other deals and sides versus looking at this from the human side of this, of going through the transaction. Now, personally, I've gone through the process of purchasing a home myself this year, or this past year, I should say, and it's an eye-opening experience that even my own expectations were crap. I didn't expect certain things to happen. I should have known better. I made mistakes. No matter 24 years in this friggin' industry, you think, oh, you know it all, and I don't ever tout to know it all, but some people think I got all this experience. I made stupid mistakes because I was thinking like a consumer, and I wasn't setting proper expectations myself. That being said, let me take it to the next step. Let's talk about product. If you're a vendor or a product that sells product to the industry, any industry, or sell a service, here's the expectations. It has to be a two-way street. First of all, we need to set them better. And here's some of the things I'm finding, and I'll give you a couple different products I've got some samples with here that I faced adversity with. Let's just call it online digital advertising. Let's call it retargeting. Let's call it Google ads, whatever it might be. Let's talk about advertising for a second. Agents that are doing advertising with companies online that in 6 months come back and say, hey, Jeff, you know what? Or not Jeff, or to the company, it's not working. I'm going to cancel. It doesn't work. This will also go for lead generation companies. It doesn't work. Okay, well, help me understand this, first of all. What didn't work? Because now we're trying to figure out what's in their heads. What did they think they bought? Well, I bought lead generation. Okay, so what did you expect to happen? Well, I expected leads. Great. How many did you expect? Well, I thought I'd get at least, I don't know, 30 or 40. Did your salesperson or person not set that expectation? Because we need to be clear. We might be thinking 30 to 40 is acceptable. They might be expecting 100, but let me clarify that right up front. That's not realistic. Way too many consumers today have unrealistic experiences or expectations that we set for them. And if we're going to set them, some of you even put it in writing, maybe sometimes for guarantees. However, I think the biggest problem is right up front asking them, what did you expect? So here's what's happening. On the advertising platforms, they're running ads on whether it be AdWorks or AdRoll or any of the different platforms. And 6 months later, their site, they've got thousands of impressions. They've been up on CNN and USA Today, and they've been blasted in front of major portals in front of their consumer, which to me has tremendous amount of impact in a local world. Seeing my ad pop up on, the Weather Channel and USA Today and Yahoo and Google News, it's amazing the kind of impact that has. Yet the agent comes back and says, it didn't work, I want to cancel. Okay, what did you expect your ad to do? Because those are the questions I'm going to ask. What did you expect your ad to do? So, I expected it to, get me, leads or something or phone calls. Okay, did you run a branding ad or did you run a lead generation ad? Because if you ran a branding ad and the ad was simply looking like a business card, 30 years experience, great service, and some other it looks like a yellow page ad, that's not going to, first of all, generate response most of the time anyway. They're not expecting the product to do what it's supposed to really do. If it's going to be a lead generation product, then it better darn well have calls to action and drive to lead generation. Now, that being said, let's go down the path of training and coaching. Well, I was in the coaching program for 6 months or a year, and it didn't work. Okay, which part didn't work? Did you not generate 40 new listing appointments? That's right, Nick. Agents don't think like marketers. And I'm going to make even a bolder statement. This is from Nick Baldwin saying that. It's a true statement. I hate to say this, but not all real estate agents have marketing backgrounds. Not all real estate agents have sales backgrounds. So if I generate, let's say I'm a lead generation product, and I generate 40 leads for you, you bring them into your system, did nothing with them, or just didn't convert them, or maybe you just really suck at converting leads, and you converted nothing, it didn't work. Well, listen, I'm going to tell you right up front. I gave you 40 leads. 40. Just making this number up. What did you do with them? How did you handle them? Did you actually convert them? So maybe it's not the product that didn't work. Maybe it's you. However, I'm not saying some products don't deliver what's expected either. I think right up front we have to understand that people are always going to find something to blame as not working, as a way to get out of something. The majority of time is user error, meaning it's us. We failed to do what we're supposed to do. I don't think many of us are even good at converting things. So here's what we have to do right up front is, I think if we sell a product or we market a product, we need to ask the question right up front. Listen, you're running an ad with us. Help me understand. In the next 6 months, what would you like to see happen? What's the expectations you have? And I'm going to wait for that answer. And if I hear something that's remotely not even close or far-fetched, then I'm going to actually address it right now. I may even clarify it in writing right now. So if I'm selling a product that's, let's say, lead capture, not lead generation, and they say, well, I expected leads. Okay, well, let me clarify that right now. We don't generate leads. We capture leads for you. You need to help generate your own leads. So if you're not comfortable doing that, then we've got to come up with another solution right now, because this will be your biggest advocate. Now, let me take a couple quick things in here. Yeah, you actually have to work. Yes, we actually have to talk to people. It sounds like people are searching for the set it and forget it mentality. And I don't believe there's anything out there that is set it and forget it. Our follow-up systems and our CRM systems are tools to the means. But if you can't convert people on the phone or set appointments or follow up, most of the time it falls back to you. The company did what they were supposed to do. And I'm not standing up and saying companies are right or us as agents are right. what I want to say is let's just be upfront with it right now. Another one comes down to ROI, and this is something really huge. I want to really give kudos to. This is not my idea. It's Molly's from AdWorks. We're going to be doing a seminar on this. She came up with the concept of ROI versus ROO. And I want to explain this to you. And we're going to go into depth in this. This is her concept. I felt it was awesome, and we're going to dive deep into it on a webinar. But it's return on investment versus return on objective. What do you really want to accomplish? You placed an ad. What did you want it to do? Well, I wanted impressions. Great. Well, then we're going to measure impressions. Well, I expected it to generate sales. Okay, well, first of all, we don't generate sales. We generate leads. We'll generate those leads. It's up to you to sell. Let's just make sure we're clear. If we give you 5 to 10 leads, can you convert 1 or 2 of them? The answer may not be right now, but it's the end of the day is if you can't convert 2 of them, that's on you. They're not all just junk leads. They're people to talk to. No one guarantees leads. What's the ROI of your mom? Who was that? Was that a Gary V? Was that a Gary V joke? What's the ROI of your mom? I think that might have been Gary V back in the day. That was an old one. So this is the challenge we're facing. So I think the return on investment, here's where I'm still shocked. Still shocked. If I hire a company to generate, let's just say, listing leads for me or buyer leads, whatever it might be, and I hire that company to do it, and they generate, let's just say, 20, 30 leads into my bucket or into my CRM. What did it cost me? So let's say it cost me $300, $400, $500, right? Did I close 2 more deals that I would never have had from those? Because I still look at this all day long, and I am still a ridiculous advocate for me. And I have a concept called 7 streams of people and 7 streams of leads. You have to have multiple streams. And I've looked at it this way. If you can give me people to talk to that I could have never have reached, that I converted, and I spent $100, $200, or even $1,000 for that group, and I converted it to a $5,000 or $6,000 transaction that I never would have had anyway, and I added it to my pipeline of business, the question I ask you guys is, how often would you do it? So that's a question. I want to see some responses. If I said spend $1,000 with me, and your goal is to generate let's call it one transaction, $6,000, $7,000, $5,000, and you generated that. Is that a good enough return for your $1,000 investment? $1,000 to generate 6. Is that good enough? That's looking for responses online. Let's go. Yes or no? Participate. It's a live stream. All day? How about others? Yes? Others? Yep. Okay. So 1,000 for 6,000. To me, that's a good return. Some people want more. Was that what I was expecting? Most people would say, no, I'm not spending $1,000 just to do one extra deal. Really? If I could spend 1,000 to make 6, I would ask you this. How many of those deals can I get from you? How many of those? I would do that all day long. You give me a check for $1,000, I return $6,000 back to you. All day. We don't look at it that way. We don't know where our leads are coming from, and we don't understand that that's the expectation. It might take me 8 months or 9 months to get that conversion, but it still cost me only $1,000, and I made 6 or 8 or 9, plus the referrals from that, plus the other buyer calls from that. For me to get one listing, let's say I spent $200 on a product, $200, and I got 2 listings, 5 listings over the course of a year. Is that worth $200? Really? The sign calls, the up calls, the $5,000 when you sell one of them, the $8,000 when you sell one of them. I would give people $200 or $300 all day long if they can give me that kind of opportunity. The question is am I expected, and what's my expectations of getting it? If you tell me, well, I was expecting more than 5 listings, then you've got the wrong product. You've got the wrong mentality. You've got the wrong expectation, and I want to work with somebody that understands that if they can get 5 or 7 or 8 conversions or deals out of something for a minimal investment, and appreciates it, I personally would look for more of those investments to make. See, that's where we get all pissed off, and not to make this a Zillow conversation or to make this an online advertising conversation, whatever it might be. But I don't look at the actual product as a negative product. I look at it as, can I get a return? So even if I didn't like, for whatever reason, Zillow, Truly Real, whatever the name is you don't like, if you said to me, Jeff, I'm going to spend $1,000 on a zip code for something, and eventually over the course of 12 months, because that's my expectations, I give it a year. I don't measure it in 3 months. I can't measure online advertising in 3-month windows. I give it a year. And if that $1,000, because I'm actually going to have to pay attention, which is, today's attention spans in real estate, but I spent $1,000 and I generated 2 new sales that made me 7. I would say, great, how do I find either more of that from that company, or how do I find more companies that give me that same return? And if I could get 7, my goal was always 7 streams. 7 streams. Write it down. I'll do a presentation for you guys one day on 7 streams of leads and 7 streams of people. But if I can get 7 of those lined up, besides my core business, besides the real estate I do, the sphere, and all that other stuff I do, 7 different streams that can get me that return, spend $1,000, make 7 to 10, I would stack them in all day. The problem is we get all bent out of shape, don't understand where the leads are coming from, don't set expectations, and we thought, oh, I only got 3 or 4 leads from that, or 3 or 4 listings from that wasn't worth it. And I'll say, you're out of your mind. I would love to be a competitor in your market, because I will take those deals all day long. I'm a competitor. I would take them away from you. Give them to me. I'll take them. And it sounds kind of hard-ass, but our expectations are wrong. Some of us aren't in that business mindset. So I use it in different scenarios from a product standpoint, from a vendor standpoint. I think another topic of conversation came up with how much does it cost per lead, and I only spent $5 per lead. Some big companies cost them $10 per lead. If you're not into those models and numbers, then go generate your own organic leads. Go get them for free. You'll see that there's advantages and disadvantages to all of that. So I think right up front, here's what I'm going to start to do. Here's what I think you should do. Is setting expectations right up front. Before you sell any product or close on any product. I may even put it out as a survey or something in the front end. Hey, thanks for purchasing the product, or thanks for considering our product. Right up front, I want to understand. If you purchase X, what's your expectations in the next 12 months? That's what I want to know. I want to squash that right now. I don't want to wait for you to bitch at me and be upset with me 6 months and then start trashing me. Let's set it right now. And I'm not even sure that's the 100% solution, because they can still do it anyway, consumers or purchasers. But I want to make sure you and I are very clear. I'm expecting to get X, Y, and Z. And in turn, as a vendor or whoever I am, I'm expecting to give you X, Y, and Z. And here's what I expect you to do. And I think if we're up front and you're way off right now, I could address that right now, because I don't want to wait a year. Way too much bad stuff happens online when people are unhappy. You guys have seen a lot of it. When people are unhappy, people get really, really crazy online. People are getting fired. People are losing their tempers. People are doing all sorts of things online because they're not happy. And they're also hurting other people's reputation besides their own. So the topic of expectations came up a lot today, because I think, when we're working with our clients and our homeowners, or any product you might sell, it's, what did you expect? What do you expect this to do for you? Well, I expect it to do this. Really? That's not really what it's built for. Let me help you understand a little bit clearer right now. So, down that path, I don't know if you guys have any feedback or anything you'd like to share on this topic. I'll watch the live stream. I think some of us understand ROI, ROO, which Molly and I are going to be chatting about quite a bit. Thanks, Gretchen. And Gretchen, I'm sure you see this too in a different product that you sell. Is what did you expect it to do for you, health-wise, physically? They sometimes expect magic. And unfortunately, you don't deliver magic. So let's just be clear, and I'm going to probably create some kind of a cool little online form or something that goes out to somebody and said, I'm really thankful for you purchasing a product, or I'm really thankful for working with you. But in the next 12 months, what do you expect to happen? And I really would like to see some of those answers. Not saying it's the 100% best answer, but I'm going to definitely find out. I'd rather deal with it right up front. For loan officers, the same way. What obstacles are we going to deal with? let me tell you what's going to happen. Let me tell you the top 5 things most homeowners face obstacle-wise when they're going through a mortgage. I'm not going to say it's going to happen to you. I hope it doesn't happen to any of us. But here's the top 5 things. Let me show them to you now, so that when we get to that point, you and I can look at each other and say, well, we kind of knew it was coming. It's the appraisal issue, remember? Or it's going to be, stop signing up for credit cards before closings. Or don't go out and buy your new car this week. That kind of stuff. So set it now and don't be surprised and shocked by it. Vendor side, straight up front. And I think from the consumer side and the homeowners trying to buy a home, let them know what they're up for. Let them know the process. What are some of the great ways to market that kind of stuff? I would, if I were you, probably from a branding standpoint, I would compile a digital form, or I would put together a beautiful digital flyer of some sorts that talk about expectations, but do it in a third-party format. Just thinking off the top of my head, might be, these are the 5 to 10 things we find are stumbling blocks for most homeowners during a transaction. Septic issue, underground oil tank. And these are saying, not that we have any of these, but let's just make sure we understand that if we cross some of these bridges, these are some of the hurdles that we as professionals are going to have to get you through. I think if I'm a vendor and I'm selling a product, let's talk about, here's what we expect to do, here's what we don't do, here's what we do not do. This is something we don't cover, that if you need help with, we'll be happy to find you help in that area. Like, we don't place your Facebook ads. If you run really crappy Facebook ads and don't get results to my product or whatever it might be, or leads, our product worked. Your Facebook ad was really crappy. So we can't say that, but we might have to market it a little bit differently by top things we see our customers successfully doing, and maybe the top 5 to 10 things that we see as stumbling blocks in our industry to overcome if they happen to us. And maybe just kind of put it together in a little educational platform for people to know, so that you have talking points. And I know some of you are in a little bit different businesses, from loan officers to other products that are in the industry, and others that are not even in the real estate industry. So I think we have to think about, what are the big objections we get? What are the battles we face when customers complain? What do they complain about? And take those and say, well, why would they even complain about that? It's nothing we even do. So let's not hold ourselves accountable to something we can't control. Let's address it straight up front. So, hopefully just some helpful tips. I'm going to try and address it up front at me as my company. On the front end, I'm going to come up with some solutions too, and hit it, get ahead of it, and be right up front with it. Just before the purchase is made, I think, is when I'm going to try and do it. So we're all on the same page. I'm going to have it in writing, have it documented, just so we're on the same page moving forward. So hopefully that helps some of you guys, because it's really been watching a lot of us online do some pretty crappy things, when I know deep down inside it wasn't the issue of the company. It was the issue of the end user. User error, as we would say. So anyway, if this can help anybody that you might know of, feel free to share it when it's done. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that come to mind as we talk through this, about who's not setting good expectations and being very clear about expectations, and I'm just as guilty of it as well. So hold myself accountable too. We're all human. That being said, our session's about 25 minutes. I want to keep it under 30. If I can help you guys, SparkTankMedia.com. I'm doing a training session today on visual farming at 2 o'clock today. But in the meantime, always try and be here on Fridays for these live streams with different topics. Please contribute. If you have anything you want to chat about, shoot me an email, jeff@SparkTankMedia.com, and we'll make it a topic of discussion. Thanks for those who kind of jumped in today. It'll be recorded, so you can share it and forward it to others, because I think there's a lot of people that need to hear it. All right, y'all. See ya. Thanks for your time. Bye.